Good morning. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller. I've been selling on eBay for 22 years. If you're new to my channel, which I'm very new to my channel, I'm currently live in the beautiful mountains of East Tennessee, and today I'm going to be going over things that sold last week, which was Monday the 26th through May the 2nd. It was a very slow week for me. Last month, I'm not quite sure what was up, but I had some really great days and then roller coastered straight down to some pretty pitiful days. But in the end, it all is okay because I'm still working from home, enjoying what I'm doing, and that's the most I can ask for. So, on eBay last week I sold 98 items. I've got my little handy dandy cheat sheet here. 98. That's down from like 120 the previous week, which was down 140 the week before. I'm one of those resellers who downgraded their store the beginning of the month, or beginning of April, because eBay made all those changes to how many items you could have in your store. So I went from an anchor store down to the premium store, and there are days I just wonder, but who knows? It's the highs and lows right now. But I sold 98 on eBay, and I sold about 35 on Facebook, and I had an order on Mercari. So let's get started on what sold. Let me get this started. All right, this is a VTech replacement letter blocks. It goes to this little sit-on train. I found these at the bins. The train itself was in terrible condition, so I just picked up all the blocks out of the bins. So it was pay by the pound, so I probably paid $1.29 a pound, so not bad. And I sold it for $18.35. This is a lovey I picked up at some point. It sold for $13.75. It was by Falls Creek. The next item I sold, I picked these up at, nice sound, let me turn my volume off. I picked these up at a yard sale a couple weeks ago, I believe. I actually think I featured these in the haul. Oh, I bought them at a consignment sale. And they sold this week for $55.15. It was a Thomas Duplo set, and it had Harold, James, and Percy with it. The tracks do really well by themselves. I think I ended up having two different sets that I contemplated putting together, but I went ahead and kept the other one separate because it was complete, and then this one was just pieces and parts. But it sold for the $55.15, so I can't complain. This was a very large plush by Animal Adventure, a monkey. It was 28 inches tall, and he sold for $22. Again, I very seldom pay more than $1.02 at the most on my stuffed animals, unless it's something very unique that I know I'm going to be able to sell for a whole lot more. This next item is a Spark Create Imagine. I've talked about this brand a lot. It's from Walmart. This black and brown dog for some reason seems to be more sought after than some of the other colors. I sold him with the best offer of $25. The mom sent me a heartfelt request with it, and I thought, why not? This is one of those animated plush that does things, plays music. It's by Woody Toys. I'm pretty sure I picked this up on one of my sourcing bin trips, and he sold for $16.32. Last year, I bought a baggie of character figures from the movie Up, and they have done amazing. This was the last one to sell. Most of them I sold $30, $40, $50 each. I had probably 6 or 7. At first I tried putting them together in a large lot at like $150, and it sat for a little while, and then I decided to go ahead and break it up because everybody was asking for specific ones. So but I took a best offer on Beta the Rottweiler for $20. This is a Thomas train. It's one of the motorized Trackmasters. I buy Thomas whenever I see them. Either the little metal die-cast ones, the wooden ones, and then these motorized ones. This is Toby, and I sold him for $13.75. This was a gray elephant. It was very large. It's 18 inches tall by E-Tone. I sold him for the $27.55. Again, I don't do free shipping, so when I say I sold it for that amount, that was plus shipping. This is a Mamas and Papas giraffe plush by Dolce Bambino. I don't remember where I got it. I buy so much. But I sold him for $18.35. My nose is itching. Take that out, Robert. This was, I had an old Sunbeam mixer, sat on my shelf back here in my unlisted forever. I went ahead and went and grabbed it one day and started just selling the parts. I listed the bowls, the turntable, and these beaters separate, and these sold very quickly. They did sell for the $13.75. I do pick up old appliances like this when they are very cheap. I paid $5 for the whole set. It had the 2 Pyrex glass bowls, and the stand and the mixer, but the mixer was not working. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I bought it for the parts. I featured this recently on one of my hauls. It was a vintage Tuggles dog. I paid a couple dollars for it, I believe at a thrift store, but I can't remember. But he sold within a week for $22.95. I picked this up on one of my sourcing trips last year. It's by a brand named Nietzsche. It was a monster plush, and it sold, I took a best offer of $29. I found these at one of our local thrift stores probably 3 weeks ago. I just was scanning their kitchen area, and they had this in there. They had the sugar and creamer. I think I paid $8 for the set, but I think it was actually on sale even from that. And then they had some cups and saucers and stuff. But it was like a last minute thing I grabbed as they were already ringing up our stuff. And it sold for best offer of $48 for the 2. I went back and checked the next week for the cups and saucers, but they weren't doing as well, so I left them. I always pick up baby blankets. They take a while, but it's just, they don't take a whole lot of space. I put them in little poly bags and just stack them in baskets. This is by a brand called Baby Kiss, and it sold for $16.51. I featured this, I think, last week on my haul. It's just a Carter's little lovey, and it sold for $21.11. This is a Manhattan Toy little plush. It's only like 5 inches tall. I've mentioned Manhattan Toy several times. It's a very good brand to pick up, but I sold the hippo for $13.75. I can't remember where I got this from, but it's been recently, so I would say it was either at a yard sale or a thrift store. It was odd looking. The eyes, let me show you a close-up of the eyes. They were just kind of whitish gray. But this is by Burjusa, and it was a boy, anatomically correct. And I took, it sold for $82.75, so I was very happy. One of the highs for the week. This is a CD I picked up, I think 2 summers ago. We went to a yard sale and he had a tarp full of vintage stuffed animals. And it was the end of the day and I was driving in my little Honda Civic with my 2 sisters. I packed that car full of stuffed animals for $20. And then I noticed he had totes and totes of sealed CDs. He said he had bought out an old music store. So I went through and I made up a whole tote of just like Halloween type CDs. I think I paid him $40 and I got 50 some CDs, all of them brand new. I have almost sold them out. Well, long story short, I sold this just one this week for $35.95. This is a doll I picked up recently also. She's by Gott's. She actually had a damaged eye that wouldn't close. You had to kind of make it. It was one of those sleepy dolls. But I auctioned her and she didn't get a bid. So I went ahead and I listed her and took a best offer of $30. I picked this up at one of the consignment sales this spring. It's a Chuggington Roundhouse double-decker garage, and it had Brewster with it. I paid $5 for the whole set, and I sold it for $60 best offer. I featured these in my Finders Keepers video I posted. I bought, I believe, 8 of these lures, and I made four sets of 2. This one person bought 3 of the sets. He offered me $8 on each set, so he paid $24 for the 3 lots, and I had paid $1 each for the lures. This, I keep little, if you notice back here, this is all my unlisted. I had a little tote that every time I find doll stuff, I throw it in there. Well, one day I went through it and I picked out a bunch of bottles, and come to find out, these bottles are highly sought after. They're for the Baby Alive dolls. I had some that had magnetic lids and some that weren't. I've sold several already, and then I sold this bottle last week for $32.36. So if you see baby bottles, especially ones that look like this that have the slanted top, more than likely they're Baby Alive, and I'd go ahead and pick them up. This is a Lego Duplo circus train set. I was at the bins sometime last year, and the whole bin was just loose Duplos, and I'll pick them up. I pick up Thomas tracks when I see them. Just anything that there's quite a few of them, I'll go ahead and grab them and then make lots like this. But I sold this whole set for $30.99. This is a Wowie animated interactive Siberian tiger plush. It makes sounds, and the eyes, I don't think the eyes moved, but it makes sounds that are pretty lifelike. Oh no, it does set eyes and mouth open and close. And it's the 14-inch ones. There's taller ones and then there's little ones, but I sold him for $22.45. I'm still selling this Oneida flatware that I bought at a thrift store. I'm down to just very few sets left, but I did sell these teaspoons for $40 and another set of the dinner forks. It was 8-piece place settings that I split up into 4-piece lots. And I sold these for $34.15. I paid $25 for the whole bag. I've learned, pick up silverware, or at least check them to make sure that they're worth something, because I found another set that I featured in a haul, and I'm going to get to them in just a minute because they've started selling. This is a snapback hat. I always look at them, and especially if it's company type ones, I'll pick them up. I know I bought a bunch at a yard sale and several at estate sales, and I usually pay $1 or less for them. And I sold this one for $20.66. It's for Chevron. This is a Play School glowworm from the 1990s. There's lots of different ones. The older ones are, people like to buy them. I guess they're reminiscent of their childhood. But I checked this one. It worked. It was in okay shape, and I sold it for $17.95. This is a Best Made Toys elephant. I pick up that brand all the time, but I sold it, sorry, my little cheat sheet's getting hidden, $22.45. I featured this. I got this in those huge tubs of stuffed animals that I bought at an estate sale recently, and I sold the creeper on a best offer of $13. I picked him up at a yard sale, I believe, the last couple of weeks. I'm sure I paid 50 cents for him. And this is Coda from the Disney Brother Bear movie. He made sounds and tumbled, and but I sold him for $13.45. Now, these next 4 are the silverware set that I just bought recently at an estate sale. I paid $60 for a whole pile of things, and this set had 12 of each utensil, so it was a 12-piece place setting, and it didn't even look used. It had these little wooden boxes that it came in. We've come to find out, we think they were a QVC exclusive type brand, but again, I just decided to go ahead and break these up into 4s, and I auctioned them the first round, and only 2 sets sold. The first 4 salad forks sold for $34.88, and then the same person bought the oval soup spoons for $36.79. So when the auction ended, I sent him a message and said, I actually have a total of 12. There's 8 more. If you're interested, let me know. And he said, definitely. So I went ahead, and the next morning, Monday, my auctions ended on Sunday, I went ahead and listed the other 8 as a set for him, and I made a mistake. I listed them, and then I always start new store sales on Monday morning, put my store on sale, didn't think nothing of it, so I listed them, and then he got them for 10% off, which is fine. So he paid for the first 8, the 4 and 4, he paid a total of $71.67 before the shipping, and then I sold him the other 8. I used the same pictures, and I just changed the quantity to 8 and told him what I was doing, and he got the 8 for $69.76 of the forks, and then, sorry, my lights just went out. Then I sold the other spoons for $62.78. So I still have all the rest of it, and it's I went ahead and didn't do an auction again on the rest of them. I went in and just listed them in sets of like they were, but I just did fixed price on them. I'm going to show you the last 5 things were Facebook sales. I try to keep my stuff, unless it's something unique that I want to tell a story about, you know, $10, $12 or higher. This first item was a poodle that is a vintage transistor radio. I picked them up, even if they're not working, I list them. I don't believe you can get transistor radio waves over these anymore. But the person who bought this sent me a message and said that she collected these. So I sold this poodle to her for $15 plus shipping. And then I featured this, the same place that I bought all that silverware, the estate sale. I had picked up these Neiman Marcus clutches, and I had 2 black and 2 pink, and I sold, the day I listed these on Facebook, I sold this immediately for $12. I've been picking up a lot of brass. I've mentioned that in previous, I don't even know if these were brass. I didn't put the word in there because they just kind of seemed not solid like the brass pieces, so I just called them metal. They're wall sconce candle holders. They were 12 inches tall. I put them on eBay first. Everything goes on eBay, and then I wait 3 days until I start listing on other sites. And I listed this, and it sold the same day for $25. I think I paid $5 for them at an estate sale. I mentioned this in my last haul. I've started picking up Pika blocks by Fisher Price. They seem to be, again, something that people are looking for. I listed these on Facebook and sold them for $23. Last thing is this rubber stamp set. A lot of times in thrift stores you can find huge bags of rubber stamps, and that's what we did here. I think we paid $8 for just a big bag of these, and I put them into kind of smaller groups. You know, I had some that were just thank you cards and stuff like that, stamps. But a lady sent me a message on this and asked if I'd take $12, so I changed the price and she bought it. So that's my haul for the week. I mean, my solds for the week. I'm hoping things are going to pick up. The roller coaster of eBay is always something you have to deal with. I'm still loving it, even after 22 years. It's a great gig. I hope to do a video this Friday on how I use the yard sale treasure map. I have never relied on it as far as it putting Craigslist apps on there. People around here don't use Craigslist very much, so I've always used it to make out my own maps, and I'm gonna do a video, I think Friday, when I have the places that I pull information from available to me. So if it's something that you're interested in, please look for my video over the weekend on how I use it. I hope you have a great weekend out there yard selling. It has rained torrentially here all week. I'm hoping it's going to clear up by the weekend and we can all get out there and do some sourcing.